All right, so one of the greatest controversies that are out there is about the air being all on or on with a quarter turn back. So this is a long-held belief that you would have your scuba tank air on all the way and then turn it back a quarter turn. The quarter turn had a variety of reasons. Usually back in the day it was about the stress of the tank valve and that type of thing that it was called for within training standards. However, today, as we start getting into the technical diving side of things, there's been a movement towards going air all on, and technical divers not wanting other people to touch their air or check their air because it's part of their safe protocols. Now, the thing is that what's more curious is that a lot of dive boats like to have a little air on and then a quarter turn back, because when they come to check your air, it's very easy to check it, it's on, and then go back. Now the next person comes along, it's on, and then back. The next person comes along, it's on, and then back. So that makes a lot of sense in that capacity. That is a good thing. However, there is an issue. The issue is if there is people that come in from a different side or a different angle and they actually turn the air off thinking it's all the way on, and then they go a quarter turn open. This is the hazard that goes with trying to do a partial open valve. What if the air is all the way closed and then partially open? So if I show you what that looks like, here it goes closed and then it goes open, partially. I look at the gauge is still saying 3,000 PSI. I purge my regulator, it purges just fine. And now, look at the gauge, it's still 3,000 PSI. But what we're not catching is that because of a partial open valve, and as you can see here, the needle is dropping every time the air is being purged. This has a dramatic consequence when the diver goes in the water. And Divers Alert Network's annual report of diving accident statistics has proven that there have been fatalities from divers that have gone in the water, had partial air on, gone to depth, and then been starved for air, panicked and ascent, or drowned. So this is a critical thing, and we're going to show you what that's like just in this demonstration, but also what happens when you jump in with the air in that manner. Okay, so here's the thing about the air all off, air all on. If the air was all off, let's say we got it wrong because we went to a policy of not doing a quarter turn forward, you can only have two ways. It either is all off or all on when you come with the logic of turning the air all the way till it stops. So here's the deal. If I had it all off, it would be when I'm back here at the boat, putting the regulator in the mouth, that my one or two breaths would be gone. They would be gone. We do a check, there'd be zero air because the air was off. It doesn't allow us to get in the water and have a problem. Even if we put the regulator in right before we jump in the water, as soon as we get in and we get that reg in, it's gonna go out of air like that. The problem is if you do a partial air on, so the air goes all the way back a quarter turn forward, like I've got my cylinder on right now, now it's a false positive. You think there's air there, but watch what happens when we go deep.
So notice as I'm putting on my equipment here and I get the regulator in my mouth, I am breathing normally. I detect nothing wrong with the regulator or my air supply. Once I get underwater, now you can even hear the regulator is operating fine. 6 feet underwater, everything's good. Once I start to get to about 10 feet, 12 feet, now you start to see a little bit of resistance in the gauge. It starts to drop about a couple 300 PSI each time I take a breath. Now, this is barely noticeable. I'm breathing a little bit harder. There is a little slight resistance, but to the common diver, they really wouldn't notice much. They'd be too absorbed with everything else going on. So here I go. As I make my descent down the line, the resistance starts getting more. I start noticing it more. You can hear the draw is a little bit longer. Now, this is really important to note that I am going hand over hand down the line. What if, however, I was fighting a current? What if I was in a free fall? Or what if I dropped something and had to go get it on this wreck dive, on this descent? Right now, take a look. I'm at a depth of about 25 feet right now, and look what's happening. The needle is dropping all the way to that 500 mark, and it's barely creeping up to refresh all the way back before I take the next breath. This is substantially tough. And here we are at 26 feet, it's dipping below 500, and I am having to breathe air like it's through a straw. This is really tough. And what makes this problematic is that think about the physiology going on here. I am not getting a good gas exchange because I am inhaling so strongly and forcefully, and I barely have time to exhale before I need to take that next breath because of CO2 buildup. That's what's taking place. At 32 feet here, I can barely breathe. You hear how long that draw is. And think about what that could be doing for pulmonary edema, swelling. All that suction, all that vacuuming could be bringing fluids into the lungs if not corrected. So this, my friends, is why we need to be doing air all on or air all off. No quarter turns, no partial closes, nothing like that. Air all on or air all off.